Not only are we living in this shitbox mansion in this horrific neighborhood where everybody hates us because we're the white family, but my nanny, or whatever you want to call him, housekeeper, is wearing a wig, big black guy wig, high heels, and a dress while mopping. He taught me how to drive a stick. He taught me how to fist fight. He taught me how to shave. He taught me how to put the seat up. So I learned how to be a man by this guy in a wig. Now I can't get an erection unless I see a picture of RuPaul.
Mark Normand, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Boy, these thighs are magical.
I got them out for you.
I love them.
Oh, thank
I want
you.
to put honey on them and eat them. Look at this. And the guns and the hairline. My God, the hairline. Look at that thing. It's perfection.
What can I say? Speaking of honey, Cocaine Bear. Have you heard of Cocaine Bear?
I know. I think, is that gay porn?
No. Hottest movie, trended on Twitter yesterday, based on a real story. In November 1985, a hunter discovered a dead 175-pound black bear in Chattahoochee National Forest. Nearby was a duffel bag that had originally contained roughly 75 pounds of cocaine. The unfortunate animal had apparently gotten into the blow and overdosed, later dubbed Pablo Escobar, or simply Cocaine Bear. And now they're making a movie about it.
Oh, I hope Pixar's all over this. By the way, that's 85 before fentanyl. You know, that bear would have been dead in 2 seconds, but at least he probably had a good run around the forest with that coke.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's the thing, dude. You know, you've got to scrape the barrel. If you're not going to do more reduns of Top Gun, bears taking cocaine. That's what's happening next.
That's gold. I love it. And nobody gets hurt. You can't cancel anybody. It's fun. He's already a black bear. We're being inclusive. Sorry, what'd you say?
The bear's not very happy.
No. But you get a bear, you know, he won't really do coke in the movie.
Yeah, it'll be fake coke, and it'll also be a fake bear. Apparently he's on display. The guy, it's been, what's it called when you do it?
Taxidermy?
Yeah, taxidermy cocaine bear.
Whoa.
Serious shit. Still got the white stuff on his muzzle and everything.
Damn, that's awesome. Good for the bear.
Yeah, I think he had a good time.
Another thing. Happy, like he went out like Rick James.
I remembered that tweet from that lady it was about 10 years ago. Do you remember there was some lady that was flying to Africa?
Oh, yeah, the AIDS lady.
Fuck, dude, that story came back up again.
What?
It resurfaced. Someone was reflecting it because it's nearly 10 years since it happened.
Sure.
And that was like cancellation before cancellation was a thing, really.
Right.
So for the people that don't know, this lady was flying to Africa, South Africa, I think, and tweeted, going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white. And she got on the plane with a life and a career and got off the plane and it was all gone.
Yeah. Poor gal. That's not that bad. There's a lot of AIDS in Africa, not really amongst the whites. I mean, if you go with the statistics, I'm with her. Hey, you know, it's a funny joke, but that should be a miniseries, like HBO, you know, like Black Mirror and all that. How about all the true cancels throughout the last, you know, get Kramer in there, get the AIDS lady, get Roseanne. Remember the Ambien tweet?
Wow. That would be interesting. Show. That would be good. Each one is a different character. Each one is a different story. Yeah. Cancellation through the ages.
Exactly. See what they had, then see what they lost. Roseanne had the biggest show on Netflix. That went away. You know, that's fun stuff.
It seems like, I mean, is there anyone, Trump gone, now back? There's no one really that's too big to topple, I don't think. Is there anyone that's outside of the cancellation verse?
Chappelle seems pretty invincible.
Yes, he's quarantined somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think he just doesn't care, and he's a cool black guy, and he sells out everywhere. If you have the capital, you can kind of beat it.
I lied, J.K. Rowling.
There's another one. Capital. She's a zillionaire.
Yes, I think ability to earn people money is just a protective mechanism, right?
Huge.
Like, why would you kill the golden goose?
Right, yeah, which is kind of fun because it shows how much bullshit a lot of this is, because they're like, yes, that's horrible. Oh, wait, ching, you know.
Let's not say it about her, let's not say it about him. Oh, he doesn't, how much is he net per year? 10 mil? No, yeah, we can get rid of him.
Exactly. Yeah, Alec Baldwin's still working.
Wow. Fuck, dude, that's insane.
Talk about a life-changing like that.
Bro.
Brutal. Poor guy.
Well, he's back on filming the same movie.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Imagine that 1 year, finally we get back to set. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Geez, I hope they got a new prop guy. You know, that gun guy, whoever that was, or that lady.
Fuck, dude. I mean, that's one of the wildest, and that's just gone. You know, that's just like in the past, and that feels like it was the same as the AIDS lady 10 years ago now, but it's not.
Yeah, there was a big one in New York, Central Park, right when BLM was really cooking. There was a lady who yelled at a black guy about a dog. Did you hear about that one?
I remember.
I saw she was on a podcast. She's living in Sweden, somewhere super far away, and just had to start a whole new life. She had to quit her job, move out of her apartment. Her family got doxxed. You know, they got yelled
because of
at.
that one video.
The one video, the whole thing, and she's like, she explained her side of it, and you're kind of like, wow, we were really hard on that lady.
What was her side of it?
Basically that the black guy knew what he was doing by calling the cops and saying what he was saying. And she's like, no, if you listen to the video, she's like, there's an African-American here. Like, she's even calling him an African-American. She's not like, there's a black guy, you know? And then she said, it's not my first run-in with that guy. And that guy had a lot of other people who hated him. So he was like a menace to other people, but those people were too scared to chime in because they didn't want to get killed, you know? So I'm not saying she's completely innocent, but I am saying there's more to the story. There's always more. Nuance is the new N-word, I always say, because we don't like nuance. We go good guy, bad guy. That's it.
Yeah.
And like Martin Luther King hated gays.
Did he?
Know? Yeah, he's super religious, Southern Baptist.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think as soon as you've got character limits on whatever you're going to do on the internet, you're inevitably going to tamp down the resolution that you can look at shit through, right?
Totally.
Like, you haven't got the space. You literally do not have the physical space. But what that does is it creates a sort of a feedback loop of people not wanting to think in anything more descriptive than 240 characters.
Right.
It's like, not only is that the platform, but it then sort of informs the style of thinking and the depth of thinking that people have.
Yeah, completely. And it's just written there. You can take it from there and put it other places. Whereas a comedy set, sure, you're getting laughs and you're saying the same exact thing you might say on Twitter, but it's loosey-goosey and there's people laughing and it's a context. With Twitter, it's just right there in the cement, dried.
Bro, everybody on the planet is probably 80 characters away from completely ending their life.
Completely.
I want to know what is the fewest number of characters that it's taken for somebody to completely destroy themselves.
Well, I mean, the N-word is 5 letters, right?
That's pretty quick.
That's quick.
Yeah.
Maybe FAG is quicker. That's 3.
Yeah, I don't know whether would you get full on cancelled for the F word, do you think?
Probably
if you just
not.
did that?
Probably not.
It would have to be in a context. Right?
Yeah, and you guys with the cigarettes, that might give you a little more leeway.
Difficult, yeah. Well, people still say that like consistently in the UK.
Oh, really?
I'm just going to pop out. If I'm from the north, so we'd say tab. Pop out for a tab instead of that one.
Yeah.
I nearly stumbled into it. Yeah, it's
retard, I think, is back.
Dude, I had a fascinating conversation about the word retard. So, moron, cretin, imbecile, and idiot all had previous medical connotations. Queen Mary II, her 2 cousins were categorized as cretins at birth, kept in this special tower. No one attended the funeral. No one knew where they went. And it just happens to be that this one word, like, it's kind of arbitrary. Like, why pick that word?
Yeah.
What's the problem with that one? And it seems like the reason for the problem is that it became popular.
Yes.
You know? But you would hear, I don't know, like cretin or moron or imbecile is the sort of thing that like a slightly spicy news anchor would throw around as their form of being able to call someone, you know, Donald Trump's being such a cretin with the way that he's, but no one thinks about that, even though all of the words kind of came from the same place.
That is fascinating. I think you're right. And also the shortening of a word bothers people. You know, like if you say he's mentally retarded, people go like, oh, okay, that's a little nicer. But if you go, he's a retard, you shorten it from all those to 2 syllables. Something about shortening a word, like I'm sure there's another example, like homosexual, totally fine. Homo, bad. People don't like the shortening.
I think that it makes it feel like more of a pejorative.
Yes.
Right?
That's what it is.
You would use the shorter version. Maybe it's also indicative of the fact that you maybe throw the word around quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I got to be efficient if I'm going to say it a lot of the time.
Right, right. I guess so. But it's weird because the opposite is with names. Like you got Gregory, but you call him Greg. That's a nickname. So it's weird if you shorten a name, we love you. If you shorten a term, we hate you.
Yeah, I do want to do. I want someone to do a study where they look at what is the smallest number of characters that it's taken someone to cancel themselves on Twitter.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And then you could have a chart. You could have like a leaderboard.
I love it.
Like this guy's currently running at 15 characters. How amazing. And then someone comes in with a 14 and the whole world loses its mind.
That's a fun time. That should be in the Olympics. That would spice it up a little more. The ratings aren't great.
Yeah, man. So I'm pretty new in Austin, though, so it's relatively getting used to everything here, getting used to the new terminology and learning how to communicate with you guys, despite the fact that it's the same language, has been something that's been a little bit of a learning curve. That being said, Austin's kind of subsumed my personality now, so I play pickleball.
Oh, good for you.
I have an ice tub. I've got everything. I've gone full Austin. Do podcasting shorts.
Yeah,
full works.
Good for you. But you got to remember, this is still Texas. Like
Right.
you go to New York, it'll be different, or LA, it's different culture and conversations and words you can't say. This is still, yeehaw, no abortion.
Speaking of that, the Karen lady that you spoke about, I got shouted at on the pickleball court yesterday by a lady walking her dog for celebrating too loudly. She said that it was a
Wow.
park and it was supposed to be a peaceful place.
Oh.
So, yeah, the Karen thing's continuing. They can't really complain about the masking so much anymore, so perhaps they've transmuted that onto something else. I don't know.
I love the irony of being a peaceful place, but she's combating with you. You know, like what a cunt. Get out of here. Also, the whole Karen thing and the kind of social justice thing are starting to kind of cross a little bit.
How do you mean?
Well, the Karen people are like, hey, don't celebrate like that. And then, you know, some social justice people are like, hey, don't say that word. They're very similar. I would also say that a lot of social justice people are very similar to police who they claim to hate. You know, they're policing, don't say that. You can't think that. You can't take a photo with that guy. Don't hang out with him. It's very police-like.
Despite
And
the fact that they're also trying to run that back.
defund.
Yes.
Yeah. So and they're also very Trumpy, very dictatorial. Like you see some lady with blue hair and she's like, hey, shut this down. This can't happen. Blah. And you're like, whoa, easy, sister. We're just trying to have a good time. They're very Trumpy.
I do wonder why, whether it's someone trying to compensate for a lack of control in their own life. I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah.
It's strange why someone would lean into that style of authoritarianism. I do get the sense that it's people that feel like they don't really have much control or don't
think
want to
so.
lean into control.
Yes.
So they try to control everybody else instead of taking control of themselves. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and now they have this stance of like, well, I'm doing good, you know? Like she's saying, hey, quiet down. This is a peaceful place. In her mind, she's the winner. She's the morally superior. So they use that as this weird way to win, even though they're just controlling.
Where's home for you?
Oh, sorry, I'm boring you here.
No.
New Orleans. I'm born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, and then I've been in New York for like 15 years.
Is that I can't pick up on American accents yet. So if you is that New Orleans, the accent?
I've been told I don't sound like, I got a weird voice, but I don't think I sound Southern. Southern's like, how y'all doing? You know, a lot of Southerners in Texas, obviously. Hi, how is everybody? You know, but I don't know. I think I never liked it growing up, so I maybe subconsciously skewed away.
Why? What was childhood like?
It was fine. It was weird, but I just hate the Southern accent. It wouldn't work for me. But I grew up I had a weird upbringing. I don't know if you really want to dive into it there. All right.
You.
So when I was about 7 or 8, my parents got a wild hair up their ass and bought an old mansion in a poor black neighborhood. And I'm talking holes in the floor, you know, no windows, creaky termites, stray cats. And the neighborhood was horrific. It was like a third world neighborhood. And we fixed it up, and they made the back half of it a bed and breakfast because it was so big. This house was so big that we couldn't live in all of it, and they needed income because they were fixing the place up. So we would have traveling businessmen and bands come through and random people coming to New Orleans. And then we got a housekeeper who is a transvestite. So not only are we living in this shitbox mansion in this horrific neighborhood where everybody hates us because we're the white family, but we have people coming in and out who are rando people staying at the B&B, and then my nanny, or whatever you want to call him, housekeeper, is wearing a wig, big black guy wig, high heels, and a dress while mopping.
Wow.
Yeah, don't worry. I've already pitched the show to 8 networks, and they all said no. But it sounds weird, but that was normal to me.
Were you working? Were you the maid? Were you cleaning in some capacity?
Well, I was so young. I was going to school, and then I would come home and skateboard, and play. I would play basketball in the parlor because it was so big. I'd put a hoop up on the wall, and then he taught me. My dad was a workaholic, so Enos was the guy's name. He taught me how to drive a stick. He taught me how to fist fight. He taught me how to shave. He taught me how to put the seat up. So I learned how to be a man by this guy in a wig, and now I can't get an erection unless I see a picture of RuPaul. No, I'm joking. But, yeah, true story.
But that would have been, I'm going to guess, not somebody identifying as a different gender. That would have been, like, whatever, 80s to 90s cross-dressing.
Cross-dresser, that's what it was. And he would do burlesque at night with, like, a big boa, and dancing and kicking and all that.
Cabaret's interesting, man. Cabaret's a group of people, like, some of the most sexually active men in the world. Like, I've been around a bunch of different cabaret acts, and some of the guys that go up there and do that have got all of the outgoingness that you would expect with sort of a theatrical performer.
Yes.
They've got that whole thespian side, but then they've still got the super drive. A lot of them are gay, and they've got the superb drive of somebody that wants to have sex with a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, completely. I mean, who's more free than those people? I mean, we're sitting here doing push-ups and trying to get a dick pump going and drinking, eating Blue Chew. Those guys are just comfortable. I'm jealous of their comfort.
Yeah, it's thinking about gay relationships and the fact that there's no gatekeeper. It's like just two protagonists, Like,
That's so true.
It's just two people that, on average, want to say yes more than you would do in a normal heterosexual relationship.
Yeah, man, that's the dream. I mean, if I was a lady, I would be embarrassed by how hard it is to fuck me. You know what I mean? It's like silly. Women get horny. Obviously, women are super horned up and sexy and hot, and they look great in bed. But it's so, you got to like wine and dine and conversation where guys are like, you want to go put your dick through this hole in the wall and I'll blow it? Like it's just so much. It's like you said, it's like less gatekeeping. But I get it that men are scary. We're much more aggressive and all that. So they have to watch out for that, which I get. But come on, ladies. The clock's ticking. We could have skipped this whole movie and just eaten each other out.
Ryan Long's got this bit in his new act where he says, I had a Trump supporter, a gay Trump supporter in the front row. And it's strange, because Trump supporter, but he's also gay, so you don't always see that. He's the kind of guy that would like to build a wall but then put a glory hole in it.
That's a great joke.
Fucking brilliant joke.
That's a great joke. I love it.
Yeah.
That's what's great about comedy. This weird thing happened and his weird brain got cooking and he made this cake of a joke.
Is there a comedy scene in New Orleans?
There is. It's small, and there's not really a comedy club there. You need a club that'll really like be the base, But the problem with comedy in New Orleans is it's already such a party city, and people go there to get fucked up, have a bachelor party, go to Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest. So comedy, it's like we don't want to sit and listen to a guy talk about anxiety, Like we want to go get shithoused. And comedy a lot of it is built through pain and all that. And I think people are there to live it up. And so they don't want to hear a non-famous person talk about comedy or talk about Uber.
Yeah, well, I suppose if you're walking down Bourbon Street and you've got loud music, sad story, loud music, it's like, the sad story, probably not that competitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's tits. You're gonna go past the tit place to watch a guy go, oh, my aunt's a cunt, So it's hard for comedy to thrive there.
There was one country music bar that I noticed on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and I did notice that there was a significant difference in the sort of clientele between that and jazz bars on either side.
Yeah,
sure.
Interesting. You got to have every place has their embassy. Black people are like, we feel safe here, and then rednecks are like, this is our spot, and then the rest of us.
Bourbon Street and beignets at that place. It's open 24 hours.
Cafe Du Monde.
That's it. Unbelievable.
Very good.
Yeah,
that powdered sugar all over you. You look like the cocaine bear.
That's the cocaine. Maybe that's where he went. Maybe it was a plant for someone to put the 75 pounds of cocaine next to him, and it was actually a bunch of beignets, and he just left it. Dude, I went to New Orleans a few years ago, and it was just before 2019, just before some sort of storm came through, And there was a dude, a homeless guy, you know, the steps just up and down from Cafe Du Monde toward, and you can kind of, like, people must jump in pretty regularly, I'm going to guess, into the river.
Yeah.
And this dude was jumping in. We were like, bloody hell, like, this guy's kind of intense. He was sort of a homeless guy, and he was talking / verbally fighting with these kids that were kind of taking the piss out of him. Anyway, there was a news story that went viral 2 weeks later during a hurricane of crazy New Orleans man jumps into river in the middle of hurricane, and it was the same dude.
Wow.
Couldn't believe it.
There you go.
I was like, this guy.
Well, that's also what's great about the internet is like 20 years ago, that guy would just be a nut job.
Yeah, now he's a star.
Now he's a star.
Now he's got his own OnlyFans.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of that, you remember the Cash Me Outside girl?
Of course.
And she's now one of the number one OnlyFans girls in the world, apparently.
Crazy.
Dude,
That's
where
female privilege. But all right.
the lady that was doing dog walking missed a pivot. All of this traffic.
Good point.
Could have monetized it.
Good point. Yeah, OnlyFans is a beautiful thing for that reason. You know, because these ladies can really, really have an empire.
Maximize on one opportunity.
If I was the AIDS lady, I would do an OnlyFans.
Right, okay,
You know,
and
hey-
do race play as well?
Yeah, like I'd fuck an African guy with AIDS, you know, fake it, but that would be fun.
Have you seen, do you know Adam22? He does the No Jumper podcast.
Yeah, big dong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen his new thing that he does? So I'm pretty sure, I might be getting this wrong, pretty sure he's got a podcast that's only on OnlyFans. So he's got No Jumper, which is his one that exists on the normal internet. Then he has another one on OnlyFans where him and his wife or partner sit down and have a conversation with another girl and then fuck her.
Whoa.
That's the thing. That's it.
right.
So it kind of always finishes the same. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a really old version of Magnum PI or something, or Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
You knew it was that person all along. I know how it's going to end,
Oh, that's fun.
but that's the thing. So obviously this is what's intended to be done today as well. So.
All right. Well, I haven't shaved back there, but that's a great idea. Boy, we live in I mean, look, these times we live in have horrific things too. You get yelled at on Twitter, you get doxxed, you get this and that, but there's also some beautiful stuff going on.
Ingenuity.
Yes, with the good, it's like fire. You know, it could burn your house, but it could also warm your house.
Why New York from New Orleans? Just for comedy?
Comedy, yeah. There's such a low ceiling in New Orleans for comedy, so I had to move to New York.
Mm-hmm. And that's still center of America, do you think?
For comedy, yes, I think so. And it's just I've always wanted to live there. It's the coolest place in the world, I think. And New York's kind of like a video game where you have to just keep going or you'll die. And I need that in life.
What do you mean?
Well, like I moved to New York. I got mugged 3 times in a year. My landlord died of AIDS. Shout out to the lady. And then I got bed bugs. So it's like this city it's almost like the ocean. It just keeps trying to push you out, and you got to learn how to live on an island.
How's that? How does that help with anything? That sounds terrible.
It keeps me fresh. I'm such a lazy, cum-guzzling douche. I will sit down with my feet up and do a barrel of blow and mushrooms and watch Netflix and order in. So I need the treadmill to be on, or else I'll just slip away.
Okay. So you need the world to inject some difficulty into the life, or else you're just going to continue to be comfortable.
Yeah, that's why I got married. Totally uncomfortable. But, you know, you keep trying shit. You know, they always say discomfort is key. Mm-hmm. You get too comfortable, you just start to deteriorate.
I think you're supposed to like kind of choose the discomfort, though. It's not supposed to be bed bugs and a
But
landlord
again,
dying of a...
I'm so lazy that I won't choose it. So I need the city to do it for me.
I see.
Also, it's kind of like an abusive relationship. You know, you meet these guys and they keep dating these psycho gals, or you keep meeting these women who keep dating these abusive men. You're like, what are you doing? It's a little like that with New York. I just can't get away from it.
You keep coming back to it.
I'm Rihanna with Chris Brown. I keep going back.
Talk to me, so for someone that isn't, how do you say, inducted into the world of performing on stage in front of a ton of people, what have you learned from bombing on stage in front of people? Because I've heard you say that you're an introvert.
Yes.
And as a compatriot introvert as well, the idea of not only being on stage, which I think I've done before and I get past, but it really failing in a pretty sort of majestic way.
Yeah, it hurts.
What does that do to you as a person in terms of learning about whatever, yourself or the world or insecurities?
Well, it's a great question but that's what's beautiful about comedy is it's real. You know, it's much like sports where if you don't throw the ball right, it won't go in the basket. It's the same with comedy. If it's not funny, they won't laugh. And if it is funny, they'll laugh. And there's something great about that reality. That's what I love. But also, I'm such a nut job and I have weird thoughts. And maybe my childhood, I was outcast a lot and a weirdo and all this, that I think stand-up, you get to say your thoughts. And if you package them the right way, it'll make a room full of people happy. And I think that's what keeps me going. And I get to go, how weird can I get? How fucked up can I get? And have them stay with me. And then that's a thrilling thing. And the bombing, to answer your question on that, we're all insecure in our own way. And when you bomb, it validates every sick, twisted, dark thought you ever had. You're boring. No one likes you. You don't deserve love. You shouldn't be up here. They're right. Everything they're thinking is right. And you just crumble. And so getting good at stand-up is being able to beat that. And then you win.
But when you're talking about trying to inject discomfort into your life, that seems like about as much discomfort as I could think of. It's
totally
shy of being set on fire.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. A bunch of strangers hate you, but you can beat it. And so you get better at stand-up, and it motivates you to get good at it.
I wonder, have you found that it's changed your personality? Do you take anything from outside of comedy? You know, as someone, again, introverted, you go through these nightly for 15 years, 20 years, or whatever it is. You go through all of these challenges, and it's always this specter in the background. There's a dating show in the UK called Take Me Out, and it's where a guy comes down this lift, and all of the girls press their lights, and it's sort of the fear of every man that they would get a blackout and that no girl would want them. And it's sort of that permanently on repeat every single, sometimes multiple times per night if you're doing spots.
Yes.
That has to impact, I don't know, the way you see the world, the way that you act outside of comedy. Or how much of a crossover is there between your normal life and your stage life?
They're pretty similar. I think most comics we're just hardwired so young that we can't get out of this. That's probably why we have every comic, you got the fat guy, you got the black guy, you got the loud guy, you got the quiet guy, you got the dark guy, you got the clean comic. That's all imprinted in us pretty young, I think. So it doesn't really change your personality. The only way it has changed is it gives you some meaning. Like I was always a wandering through life guy. Should I be a waiter? Maybe I'll work at a hotel. Should I be a UPS guy? Hey, a mailman? That seems pretty good. So now with stand-up, I'm like, I have something to work towards. And then you do a special. And then you go, I need a new special. So then, it keeps you rolling that ball up a hill. Otherwise, I would be rudderless. I see these guys on heroin under the bridge. I'm like, I get it.
That would have been me.
Yeah.
If not for comedy, that would have been me.
Totally. I mean, if anything, I'd be like working in a warehouse or something, like just with a forklift. But I get the heroin guy. There's a lot of hours in the day. There's a lot of bad thoughts. Opioids are through the roof. It's like the number one killer in America. We're obsessed with every other thing except for that. I don't know why no one cares about the opioids, but it's just because, hey, I'm home. I'm sick of everything. Let me pop this pill.
I was thinking about some of the prices that comedians have to pay. I'm fascinated by the sort of unseen price that people pay for the lifestyle that other people admire. So, a working comedian who has got specials and a platform and people care about what it is that you do and so on. And then this upcoming comedian, or maybe even someone that doesn't understand the comedy world at all. I've seen enough of my close friends that are working comedians now and understood a good bit about the lifestyle to know that it's not really... You have to be very, very disciplined, I think, to live the life of a comedian in a way that doesn't have a ton of potential externalities that are pretty negative. It seems like everybody in the green room is constantly drinking. You're doing late nights. You're on the road. Good bit of loneliness.
Yes.
I mean, you're friends with Constantine and Francis from the UK, right? From Trigonometry. And I heard about, because the UK is sufficiently small that you can drive everywhere to do your shows, right? So they basically described this sort of nocturnal lifestyle permanently in cars, driving to and from when they're doing the circuit and maybe just a 10 to 30 minute little spot or whatever. They're not actually doing full shows. They're just bouncing around the country.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And isn't that the best? To me, that's the best job in the world. You get to just go places, pop in, do the thing you're the best at, and then leave.
Does it not get lonely?
I'm a loner. I like being alone. like I have a great lady at home. She's love of my life, yada yada. But like when I'm on the road, I'm like, I'm sleeping till noon. I'm jerking off. I can eat ice cream, and I need that. I like recharge, and I come back and I'm whistling, walking in the door. Hey, honey, good to be home. And she's the opposite. She's like, I was here all weekend alone. I wanted to kill myself, and I was like, oh, I love being alone. I love sitting in a diner. I got a podcast going. I'm eating eggs, looking out the window. That's the dream.
Good. So, given the fact that it seems like you're striving to do excellent things, you want to be better at your craft, and you want to do a better hour or a better 10 minutes or a better even just individual joke, do you find that the lifestyle of maybe getting up a little bit later and the temptations to party and being around comedians who aren't exactly well known for their discipline, is that a tension of two different things there?
Yes, totally.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I first of all, I used to be a janitor. I was a waiter. I was a busboy. I was a construction worker. So to me, being able to do comedy, if making it or not making it, it's a gift. It's a privilege. I'm a lucky guy that I get to do this, and I get to do it at this level. I'm doing these theaters now. It's mind-boggling. So I am I feel very grateful to be able to do comedy. Shit, I lost the question.
Is it a difficulty of excellence versus...
So obviously I don't want to go to the gym, but I'll go for comedy. So I can keep doing comedy.
Because it'll facilitate your performance.
It'll facilitate your performance. It'll make you healthier. It'll make you stronger. You can work longer. So yeah, sure, I want to get hammered. But if I get hammered, it'll hurt my show tomorrow. I'll be hungover. So I'll drink a little less. So this is what I'm saying about it. It gives you a goal. It gives you something to work towards. And I need that. So I've been, I don't eat bread. I drink less. I don't do blow anymore or anything. So like I've really tamped down. I used to be an animal. So, and I'm 39 too.
But this is in service of your craft.
Totally. Like Seinfeld once said, he did the show Seinfeld and he named it Seinfeld just so it would help him sell tickets on the road. It wasn't like, oh, it's my ego, I need my name on it. He's like, oh, if I put my name on it, they'll know my name. So when I go to that theater, they'll buy tickets. And that's how I feel. I'm like, I'm at the gym. I'm not like I'm not trying to win Mr. Universe. I just want to be healthy so I can keep doing comedy.
I've been thinking for a long time about people treating their chosen pursuit like an athlete does. So if you think about how hard athletes work.
Totally.
Their sleep, their nutrition, the people that they spend their time with, their game tape that they watch, their mindset work, maybe they're doing breath work or they're meditating.
Yes.
They're considering their hydration. They've got a routine. They've got a warm-up procedure that they go through in advance of doing the thing that they care about.
Mm-hmm.
And so few people, it seems, treat their thing that ostensibly is their life's calling with that same degree of preparedness.
100%. I completely agree, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a dick, but I see these comics, and they never write. They do the same jokes every time. They never try anything new. They're drunk every time they go on. And I'm like, what do you expect to get out of it? You're going to get what you put in. So, like, then they go, oh, it must be nice to have what you have. I'm like, yeah, bitch, I wrote for 3 hours today. I worked this out. I've been slaving over this one joke for 2 years. I'm working on it. Where were you? I did 3 cities this weekend. What did you do? So I hate when people get all look must be nice, because I'm like, no, it's kind of like when a fat guy goes, hey, it must be nice to have big guns, and you're like, yeah, well, I do the curls. You're eating pasta. So that bugs me. But yeah, so I think, yeah, you gotta, like, you hear these Kobe stories about how he's the last guy in there and the first guy in there and da-da-da-da. And Dave Chappelle once said, if you're gonna do stand-up, take an acting class. And everybody's like, acting class? Because it'll help your impressions, your voices, your act outs on stage. Always try to be a little better. And what the things you're not good at, go towards that and try to make those better. And then once you fix that, go to the next thing. So I'm all in on the work hard at the thing.
Think like an athlete is just a really, really good philosophy, I think. And here's the reason why I think most people don't, apart from the fact it's easy not to do it. But the line between your preparation, what you do in advance and all of that, and your performance is kind of wiggly. It's very messy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are a powerlifter, right?
Yeah.
That is 300 kilos. It's always going to be 300 kilos. It's 300 kilos for that guy. It's 300 kilos on Tuesday. It's 300 kilos in fucking Zambia.
Yes,
it's 300 kilos, right?
That is nice.
So you have a very objective metric of failure or success. It's like, if you used to pick up that in training and then you didn't on game day, what did you do? Was it your sleep? Was it your hydration? Was it your mindset? Was it whatever it was? Nutrition, anything. But when it comes to podcasting or comedy or pretty much anything except for sport and maybe like classical music players.
Right.
I really, really thought about this to try and find like who else is treating their pursuit with that level of
precision.
Yeah. And very few people because of that messiness. And if you do underperform, you're a motivational speaker or whatever, and you get up on stage tomorrow and you sort of fumbling your words a little bit and you forget your lines and it doesn't really go down so well. And you go, well, was it because I stayed up on my phone until 4 a.m?
Right.
Oh, maybe, but maybe not. And the criteria, there's always a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, because it's subjective.
Yes.
Subjective things always will make you less tenacious, I think. Because Colin Quinn once said, a lot of comics don't like to write because writing proves you're not a genius. Because you have to work on it, and it's not perfect. You crumple the paper, you throw it out. But if you go, I'll figure it out on stage, it makes you get out of jail free. It's like, well, it didn't work tonight, but I'm tweaking, I'm working on it. It's like, no, you got to work on it. You're just trying to take a shortcut or not do anything. So I completely agree, and that's why it's even more important for a comic to be disciplined, because you got to do it for yourself. Because if you can't lift the weight, people go, all right, so that's exactly how strong you are. You can lift that much. With comedy, it's like, okay, I bombed tonight, but I did well last night, and I'm getting better, and, I'm going through a lot right now. And you're like, all right, shut up, you're out.
Yes, no one cares about the last performance.
Yeah.
The one before this bad one. It's how well did you do this evening?
Exactly. That's why we love sports. We love, he got 200 points, he got 199. He won.
Yes.
That's why we love UFC. He's laying on the ground, he's still standing. It's easy, Yeah. And I think those things are getting more popular because we're getting in more of a emotional-based world I think we're living in.
I like the idea of the complexity of the world becoming more simple when you put rules to it.
Yes.
So within martial arts, within a UFC fight, even within that, which is ostensibly like a fucking street fight that's televised and made legal, there are still rules. There's an amount of time that they're there for. There's a weight category. Can't knee people when their head's on the ground. There are certain things. You can't bite them or kick them in the dick. Like, there's certain stuff that you can and can't do. And there are also relatively, even that, there's a little bit of your judges' scorecard type thing. But for the most part, it's like if the guy's on the ground and the other guy stood up and everything was legal, he won. Yeah. Whereas for almost all of the rest of life, everything's super messy.
Yeah.
Like, how well did I do my morning routine? How good was my interaction with my kids this morning? How fantastic was my performance with my partner when we went out for dinner? And how present was I with that? Like, it's just fucking mess.
It is
chaos.
That's why you need to have some rigidity in your life, just for your own self-discipline, your own, self-worth even. I ran 5 miles today, according to my GPS. Look at that, or my step count, whatever. That's 5 miles. It's a hard number, right? You need that. It gets too wishy-washy with other stuff. I'm sure that guy liked me. Yeah, whatever. Like, well, maybe he hated you, but people give themselves too much leeway, I think, on a lot of things.
Without that forcing function, or whatever you want to call it, like the focus that you have that everything is being moved toward, that's in service of, right? Without that, that's why I think you get listlessness. If you don't have a thing that you're moving toward, why do the hard stuff?
Exactly.
And that's kind of like a brutal realization, because I think a lot of people have the capacity to do something or to put themselves through really difficult things, like a man with a strong enough why can bear any how type scenario. If you have that why, if you have a why, if you have no why, I can guarantee that the how is probably not going to be done. There are very few people that can do a Goggins. I've heard a rumor that he, for most of this summer, was volunteering to fight fires in California, being dropped out of a helicopter.
Holy
so he's
hell.
like a bushman firefighter, just psychopath, right? Like that's him. Why? Because that's rare. Right? Most people need it to be in service of a thing, not just in service of being a hard motherfucker.
Yeah, completely. Well, don't you think there's a reason these type of guys are popping up? There was no Goggins in the 80s. I mean, you had like Mr. Universe or Jack LaLanne or guys like that, but you didn't have these Andrew Hubermans, these Sam Harrises who are just almost autistic-y. These are facts. This is reality. We need to live in this world. And people are clinging to these type of people because there's like, we need it. It's like you say, we're getting so loosey-goosey with everything that's why these guys are popular, I think.
Oh, because they're creating order from the chaos.
Completely.
That's
And
interesting.
we go, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. I needed that, you know? You're just reading Twitter. It's like you're going schizophrenic reading that shit. There's so many opinions coming at once. The news is all horrific. Mass shooting, kids in cages, Jewish space laser, what the fuck's going on? And then you see Sam Harris goes, well, this is because of that, and that's why people do this. And Huberman's like, well, neurons in the brain fire, and you're like, there's an answer. There's reasoning here.
Yes.
And we love it. And then Goggins is like, get your fat ass up, get off the beanbag chair, go do a sit-up, you cum guzzler. And we go, yeah, I need somebody to yell at me. I got a hard on. We need it.
I've heard you say that your biggest fear is an unlived life. And
Did I say that?
You did say that, although you may disagree with yourself. I do that a lot. Even if you didn't say that, or even if you don't no longer believe it, how do you try and construct a life to ensure? Because I've heard you talk about adventures, like adventures like a drive for you, and you want to do like a variety of things.
Life is for living.
But how do you keep on doing that? How do you not be, you can sit back, you've got the YouTube channel and the specials and people know you and you've got huge platforms on the biggest podcast in the world. How do you not just sit back? Is it,
well,
what I mean?
that's all over. I got to do that. What's the next thing? Yeah, I was on a plane today with two comics who are also coming here and they're getting dropped off at the hotel. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to do a podcast. Like, what? Why would you? Let's go get a drink or let's get dinner. I'm like, I like this guy. I want to do his podcast.
Oh.
And they're like, oh, that's so crazy. I'm like, yeah, but you guys are going to sit and eat a taco and talk about the Bears. I'm going to go talk about Cocaine Bear with a guy I've never met, So I don't know. Let's try new things. And that's the beauty of comedy is I'm gone to, Amsterdam and Mexico and Hawaii and all these places, China. I did comedy in China. I would never have gone there without comedy. So, yeah, let's live, baby. And there's so many people in the cubicle and the plus-size wife and the kids they hate and the tiny house and their fucking Subaru. I don't know. I want to mix it up.
I think far more people than realize it would be able to achieve something great if they just had something to work toward.
I agree. That's why I'm, again, thankful for comedy.
Speaking of China, have you seen these videos that are coming out of people protesting against the lockdowns?
I have.
Dude, this stuff's proper harrowing. It's
Really?
genuinely, there's a really...
Good for them.
Well, I suppose so, but the fact that it's got to this stage, people have been quarantined inside of their own flats for 100 days, and they tied metal wire around the door handles from the outside.
What?
So that people have literally been locked inside. They've got these drones that fly over the streets and disperse some chemicals in a desperate attempt to try and kill the virus. No idea if it works. No idea what the chemicals are. Little kids are breathing this in. They've got these totally arbitrary quarantine areas outside in parks that are just for bank barriers, and it's just a square with nothing in it and a sign on the outside. It's just the most insane arbitrary rules run amok. It's crazy.
That is wild. That's movie shit. That's terrifying.
Yes.
And good for them for protesting, because China is very obedient, generalizing. But good for them. They're breaking free. And it's like we said before with the policing of words. Like, is this really for good or justice, or is this something more behind this? And I feel the same way about this. Is this really for good? The chemicals and the hair, the shit on the handles and the doorknob, like, you've gone too far. You've gone so far good, you're bad again.
Yeah.
So
think about the price that those people need to pay to do that protest. For all that there was protests that happened in the US and in the UK and in Australia, and people were unhappy about stuff. Like, you weren't being tracked by, they have this gate tracking AI analysis from CCTV, even without seeing your face, with about a 95% accuracy. They can work out who you are just from the way you walk.
Oh, geez.
Kind of like a biophysical fingerprint of some kind, right? And that's the price that they're paying.
Wow.
For pushing back. They're going to have social credit score. They've got this digital health, what's it called? Digital health system, digital health, some bullshit. And that's it. They're chanting, give me freedom or give me death.
Whoa, good for them.
Fucking serious, man.
Serious. That is serious shit, but they can't live like that But I do feel bad for them because I think we talk about how harsh we are with police. I'm sure those police are just coming down with the hammer.
Yeah, game over.
Yeah. So that is terrifying, but we can't live like this. We're literally losing our lives. And they're like, but you could die. I'm like, well, let me take the risk. My body, my choice.
Yeah.
And I do think, look, we had a pandemic and all that, and maybe we're still in one, and you wear the mask and you play ball and all that, but like, there's fucking limits here, folks. Let's not overdo it.
Have you heard of phrogging?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I got told about this the other day. It's a pretty fucking harrowing story. So one of my friends was in a relationship with some like famous pop star chick, and he was staying at her house, and he was sunbathing there, and this guy came through the hedge. He's like, that's fucking strange. It's a gated community, like super expensive house and stuff. This guy came through, but he was in khakis or whatever, and he looked like a normal person. And he was like, can I help you? And this dude looked super shocked. He said, oh, is this not Scott's house? I'm looking for Scott. And he said, no, there's no Scott here. And he says, oh, I came from next door. Something must be, sorry, I must have got confused or whatever. And my friend just had a bad feeling about it. He was like, there's something up here. Something really, really, really up. Anyway, they roll forward another couple of weeks, and he's still got this feeling in the back of his mind. Apparently he's waking up in the middle of the night.
Whoa.
Like he felt like there was somebody in the room. And he's like, I'm being crazy. I'll go back to sleep anyway. And air conditioning goes out. So they need to get a pest guy and air conditioning guy up. So go upstairs into the attic, and he says he'll never forget the body language of the air conditioning guy. Guy opens the attic door up, goes up, and apparently he just saw him go like his whole body language just slumped.
Oh my God.
As this dude looks. So they go up
chills.
They go up into the attic. This story really fucking disturbed me. Go up into the attic and they look, and the guy comes back down with his face just white, and he goes, are you sure that you've never been up there? Is this a joke? Is this some sort of a joke? And he's like, no. And he's like, I think that you probably need to call the police. And it was like, okay. Went upstairs. What had happened was some like fans or whatever of this particular person had been living in the attic of the house, writing manifestos about how they were going to kill this person.
Oh!
Creeping downstairs in the middle of the night, eating the food, and then going back up. Dude.
Oh my God.
Phrogging.
I can't believe your friend was banging Madonna. No. Holy shit. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, we got robbed a lot when I was a kid, and I would wake up with people downstairs, and you just know you're getting robbed, and it's a fucked up feeling. So I walked in on a few robberies. I'm like 9. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's this big guy with a TV, and I'm like, hey, can I help you? And he's like, oh, I'm looking for your dad. And I was like, oh, let me go get him. And then he would just run out their backyard with a TV.
What about New York? New York's got some...
New York, I've been robbed in New York. Got robbed. A guy went through my window in my apartment, up the fire escape, opened my window, walked on my bed, opened a drawer, had all this cash in a drawer.
On your bed?
Yeah, because my bed was in front of the window. So he opened it and walked on the bed. So I saw his footprints and dirt on the bed. And then...
Didn't wake you up?
No, I wasn't home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy story. My girl was living with me at the time. She came home and she opened the door and it hit the coffee table. He had put the coffee table in front of the door. And she's like, hey, why'd you put the coffee table in front of the door? And I'm like, get the fuck out of there. I knew exactly what was going on. And then she's like, okay. She called the police. Please come. The window's wide open. And I'm such an idiot or a tard or an imbecile or a moron that I had one drawer with like $6,000 in it, a bunch of shrooms, fireworks, brass knuckles, all this dumb...
All of my most prized possessions. I had it all in there.
18-year-old boy shit, baseball cards and a Playboy.
Yeah.
And he just scooped all the cash and left.
Fuck.
But then they caught the guy. They took one fingerprint and they caught him like 6 months later. Just an old crackhead guy.
So let's say that I'm going to New York next week, actually. What are the biggest do's and don'ts for me while I'm in New York? Is there like a particular energy level that I need to be on, or are there some of the biggest mistakes that I should and shouldn't make?
Yeah, I will say it's all ticked up. The craziness is ticked up since the pandemic because the hobos ran the city. We all went indoors, so they just were running rampant. And now the city's back, and they're still there. So there's a real clash of normies and hobo, and the violence is way up. So I would say, have you been before?
Yeah, a bunch of
Oh,
times.
okay.
Yeah.
I would just say don't do the subway after midnight.
Why?
Just because it gets cold and they go down there, and that's where the real action happens. That's like slashings and shootings and whatnot. Push you on the track.
But I've heard that you've told stories before about how you needed to do that because was it Brooklyn you lived in for a while?
Yeah.
And presumably that's the only way. I mean, you're not walking to fucking Brooklyn.
No, and I had no money to get a cab out there because it was, a little
so
more
what do you do if you have to go? Just hope for the best?
Yeah.
V for Vendetta it?
I got mugged once on the subway, and that was my fault, actually.
How is it your fault?
Well, I was shithoused. I drank too much back then. I was blacked out. I fell asleep on the train. I woke up to a guy on his knees doing the X-Acto knife around the pockets. And I was like, oh, I stood up and I hit my head on the pole and I fell back down and kind of like knocked myself out. And he was super nice about it. He was so nonchalant. Like, oh, don't worry, the train will turn it back around. I'd gone all the way to the end, which is like,
hang on, the
terrifying.
guy that mugged you made you feel comforted that you missed your stop.
He was charming. He was like, don't worry, the train will turn around. You'll be all right. And then he walked away.
But without your wallet.
Yeah, with all my shit. He had my keys and everything. He was just like, all right, don't worry, you'll be all right. And I was like, thank you.
One of my friends who were at a wedding in Barcelona. Barcelona is the robbery capital of Europe. And the kids there that are playing in the street, they'll be playing football between them. And they've got a whole system there where they'll kick the ball towards you. And you know that sort of Cruyff turn thing where they jump on the ball and spin? Have you ever seen players do that to turn around players? They'll do that and they'll be able to do that up against you and take your wallet at the same time.
Wow.
It's like some fucking Oliver Twist style shit.
Yes.
Right? It's elaborate. And one of the guys doesn't usually drink. And we were at this wedding and he, big beard, sort of CrossFit-y guy, but big sort of beard and slick over hair. And he decided he just wanted to have a little nap in Barcelona train station. He woke up to find that his wallet, his phone, and his shoes had been taken from him. So you now have this big beardy guy at 7 a.m. walking around Barcelona city center. But the problem is, he was staying in an Airbnb. He had no idea what the specific address of that was.
Course.
Obviously, there's no hotel name or anything that you could go to. It's 1945, whatever street.
Yeah.
And so he's going up to people saying, can I please borrow your phone? But remember, we're in the robbery capital of Europe. So you have this beardy, non-native...
Shoeless.
With no shoes. Walked holes in his Ralph Lauren socks. like in a wedding suit.
Oh, my God.
Just like the quintessential homeless guy that you're not going to give your phone to.
Yeah.
Trying to fight against the exact dynamic that's just robbed him of all of his possessions.
Oh, man, that's wild. What happened?
He eventually went to a CrossFit gym, asked one of the guys who's like, I promise I'm the person that I say I am. Can you go on Instagram? That's me. And they're like, it does. I mean, you look like a disheveled version of this guy, but yeah, that is you.
Yeah.
And they said, can I please just borrow? So interesting, like lesson or whatever there is. If you've got a little bit of whatever social capital, people are prepared to do all sorts of stuff for you.
Sure.
Without that, if you didn't have the online persona or it wasn't well known, like what do you do then? And why is it that people are prepared to give a help? It's like an assurance of some kind. Do you know what I mean?
That's totally true, 100%. And man, good for your friend to have a blue check?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, enough followers to quantify that he wasn't going to run away with someone's in no shoes, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't what he was going to do.
And finally, something good came out of CrossFit. That's a first. But the blue check, I used to be on all the dating apps back when I was a single guy, and the girls would be like, you have a blue check? Why are you even talking to me? And I was like, I'm a fucking douche. I'm nobody. But they thought the blue check meant I was hot shit.
You can buy it now. You can just buy it on Twitter.
I know. Yeah, the fun days are over, but you should have to earn it. But Elon's running out of money, so I think he's trying to figure something out.
Yeah, he's got to get something working. I've heard you say that an erection is basically an energy bar for a vampire.
Oh, yeah. It's an old tweet.
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
No?
Not only do I not believe in it, but I get annoyed when people do.
How so?
Well, I mean, come on. It's too convenient. Ghosts are too convenient. Oh, there's a little girl living here. And you're like, well, wouldn't thousands of people lived here from all the people who, and why is it like always a little girl? It's never like, an old guy, It's just, oh, a little girl. Oh, I can feel her presence, but why wouldn't they be fucking with you more? I don't know. It's all too easy.
Yeah. The same friend that told me that Phrogging story also told me one about where he stayed at this place in Birmingham in the UK. And he'd asked to stay in a particular wing of this sort of stately home, and there's a hotel on one side that's supposed to be really, really nice, and he really wanted to stay in this other one. His manager had managed to sort him in this room, and all manner of fucking shit ended up happening to him while he was in this room. But it's like a thatched roof and stone walls.
Yeah.
So you go, well, it doesn't seem like the sort of place that would have artificially, and they didn't want to let him stay. It was not, you're not supposed to stay there. They had to specifically bring a bed in just so he could do it. Anyway, the doors start smashing open and closed, and the windows do. And then within the next week, a ton of shit happened. Like his whole life just fucking comes crashing down around him.
Wow.
And then he's walking through Hollywood when he gets back, and this gypsy lady comes up to him and says, sorry, I don't mean to disturb you. She had a ton of kids with her. There's like you've got a dark shadow that's following you. And she takes him in and does the thing. And I was like, fucking hell. And this guy is like super, super rational. And again, for me, I'm very much like, if I can see it, if I can't see it, I won't believe it. But fuck, man, there's something that sort of it really freaks me out to hear stuff like that. It really freaks me out.
I believe in energies and vibes and all that stuff. And, there's all kinds of things going on around. We're all connected, blah, blah, blah. But I do think a lot of this is, we live on Earth for so long, coincidences are going to happen. But maybe I'm a, what do you call it, pessimist, cynical.
Are you just continuing to focus on comedy moving forward then? That's the sole pursuit and everything gets funneled toward that?
Sure. I mean, I'd like to have a family one day, because to me, that's like some kind of toe in the normal pool. Like my whole life is just walking around going, act normal, do what a normal person would do right now. I'm at a wedding, like, all right, don't make a pedophile joke. I just get a cup of coffee and eat some cake and shut the fuck up. So yeah, I would like to have a family and not fuck that up, and but just continue making good comedy, and hopefully people will come out and see me.
I think that the idea of having, especially as a guy now, I don't think there's as many places that are firm for masculinity in men to kind of stand. It's like, what's the role? You've outsourced resource acquisition to fucking Walmart and Whole Foods.
Sure.
And you've outsourced warfare and hunting to the police and the legal system, right? Like the things primarily that we would have done ancestrally have kind of gone.
Sure.
In part. And one of my friends, super successful guy, just in this relationship, he's completely smitten with this new girl of his. And he was saying it made a ton of money in his 20s. He's like, man, do you know what it is? I realized most of my 20s was spent making me into the kind of dad that I really wanted to be for my kids.
Ooh, that's nice.
I was like, that's fucking great.
That's heavy.
It's really, really cool to think that all of the fucking ridding yourself of the juvenile ideas that you've got and the fucking bad habits and getting the cocaine out of the way and, the casual whatever and the sense of ego and need and all that shit. And you're like, oh yeah. And now I can actually be a good dad.
Yeah. But I think for a lot of people, and this is not a knock, but I think kids are a lot of people's goal. Yes. We were saying we need a thing to shoot for and strive for. For a lot of people, it's a reproductive thing that's they're trying to build up. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think the problem comes when people who don't see their kids necessarily as a worthwhile investment have the kids and don't have anything else, because then there's just no push forward from the parents. And what do you create? You create an environment in which listless parents create listless kids.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think now we live in this time where there's so much modernity. It's almost like the China thing where we have so much technology, everything's so easy. You got Uber Eats. You used to have to go out and kill a thing, and now you don't have to go get it now. You don't have to go to McDonald's. They'll come to you. So I think that is really, as much as that helps us in life, I think it's hurt us too.
One of my friends who I spent the weekend with has got a newborn who's 6 months old and weighs 25 pounds and wears 2-year-old's clothes. This kid is huge. It's very cute and very well behaved. And I very much was like, oh, that's nice. That's weird. At what point something happens in men, and it's happened in me, where originally children are the things that your more mature male friends have that get in the way of you partying with them.
Yes.
Right? Kids are just this fucking annoying way that shakes the Etch-a-Sketch and stops the life that you used to have. My business partner can't go out and party with me because he's got to look after the kids, right? Like with his wife. And then something happens at, I don't know, like for me it was probably 30 or 32, where I was like, it went from kids being annoying to me actually looking at them going like, oh.
Yeah.
they're kind of nice.
I
They're
know.
And I can't. It feels a bit. I don't know.
It breaks it up. Well, I was at Thanksgiving. I don't have kids, but my in-laws have kids, and we're all at that age now. And they're running around, and they're sword fighting, and they got a fake cape on. I'm super, and they're jumping off the couch. And otherwise, we'd be sitting there going, "That's cold out. It's really unseasonably warm, or whatever the fuck." Or did you see that the World Cup? Oh, how about the China with the lockdown? But they get some energy into the room, and that's kind of nice. And we did it. We had our turn. Now it's their turn.
They can interrupt Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We used to do that. We used to run around and scrape our knees and jump and climb a tree, and now they're doing it.
Yeah, there's something strange about seeing that as a guy and remembering what it used to be like to not be so fussed about kids.
Yes.
And to then see them and be like, I actually kind of like, whoa, hey, like who is that? Like, stop. But at the same time, you kind of like I don't know, the fatherhood fucking key gets turned a little bit more, and you go, I can't wait to be a dad, man. I really, really can't wait to be a dad. Same for you,
dad. Yeah, I don't know if I can. It's not I can't wait, but I think it's a good idea.
Excited at the prospect.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like, oh shit, I lost my train again. I had a good train going. Run a train. I can't remember, but. I think it's, I think it's weird that when people make fun of old people, you hear that a lot, like, oh, it's fucking old bag, and you're like, but don't you want to be an old bag? Like, we're gonna be that. It's weird to make fun of a thing you're gonna be. So I think it's the same with kids. Like, we all used to go, fuck kids, marriage is a stupid, antiquated idea. Maybe it is. But I think you change. Like, didn't you have a nightclub at some point?
Yeah.
When you were 14, you probably never thought I'd be running a business.
Yep.
And so you go through stages, and you shouldn't sit around knocking stages that are up ahead because they're going to come.
Yeah. Everybody can guarantee. There's two choices, right? Or there's two options. One of them is that you end up becoming the thing that you're currently taking the piss out of.
Yes.
And the other one is that you die too soon to reach it. Like,
exactly.
Neither of those feel like something that you should really be taking too lightly.
Yeah.
There's ageism.
Ageism is big.
The one thing that nobody steps in for.
Not really.
I don't ever see anyone. Even the most ridiculous ism-obia in the world. There's someone out there that's going to stand up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm for all of the jokes that I think are funny. Like Joe Biden gets it's age is the primary issue that people are talking about, and like. No one's defending that. Even the people who are on the same side of him are like, come on, the guy's like fucking 100.
I know. I think it's because it's the same way you can shit on kids. Oh, fucking kids, huh? It's because we were kids and we will be old. So I think it takes a little of the sting out of it when you will be that thing. You're not going to be black, but you will be old.
You couldn't say that about Michael Jackson, though.
And Dolezal. Yeah, good point. Well, gay?
Also, actually, there's a lot of these that we can become. Yeah, maybe the world's as free flowing as we think it is.
Convert to Judaism.
All of the above. It's strange to think about the whole like ageism and aging out thing. Speaking as well about sort of taking the piss out of it. Do you know why, or one of the evolutionary explanations for why we have menopause or why women go through menopause?
No.
So it's called the grandmother hypothesis. So you could imagine. Women contribute kids. After they get to a certain age, they'll contribute kids to the tribe, and you need that because you need the tribe to keep on moving forward. You need to continue to fill them as people age out and die and get gored by a mammoth or whatever. But after a certain age, women, it turns out that it's very hard to raise kids, so you need to have parenting shared between a lot of the women, and the men contribute sometimes as well. But if every woman continued to just add more mouths to feed, you would end up with more mouths than there are energy to be able to give to them.
Ooh.
So what you actually need is for women who still have the maternal mothering impulse and they're invested in their daughters and then their daughters' daughters, but are not adding more mouths into that pool to be fed. So the grandmother would be able to contribute to caring and gathering and helping fucking sort shit, but doesn't continue to add more children in. It's called the grandmother hypothesis.
I like it. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, what does that say for Viagra, though? Because our dicks stop working eventually, to a degree.
And you artificially give it another bit of juice.
Is that bad for the society?
I don't know. Well, I mean,
I guess you can wear a condom.
Male sperm does decrease in terms of quality. It does decrease
True.
after a certain time. That being said, my friend who's got the baby, who is very large and pretty cute, is in his 60s.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Baby's perfect, super, super cute, amazing dad, amazing mum. You go, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, look at Nick Cannon.
Who's that?
Oh, who's Nick Cannon? He's
Who's Nick Cannon?
He's an entertainer, but he's one of these guys. He's all about procreating, and I think he has 15 kids or something.
Wow.
It was like
Elon's got 10.
Elon's got 10. He's another one of these procreating guys. So I don't know. I think it's at some point it's kind of child abuse.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe Elon's obviously a zillionaire, so he can afford it. But I think, you want to be able to be around for the kids, see the kids, raise the kids, get to know the kids. But if you have that many and you work as hard as he does, it feels like it's tough to get to know them all.
You're going to spread the resources a little bit too thinly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to farm it out to mom or nanny or girlfriend or whoever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would like to have the amount of kids I can actually be there for.
Yeah, I think that seems to make sense. Look, dude, let's bring this one home. I really appreciate you. Thank you for seeing me before your show tonight.
Thank you for having me, and it's cool. I've been watching on YouTube, so it's fun to talk to you.
Thank you. Where should people go? They want to check out the shit you do. Where should they go?
MarkNormanComedy.com for dates, and I have 2 pods. We Might Be Drunk, and Tuesdays with Stories, and I'll see you on the road. Praise Allah. What's happening, people? Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that episode, then press here for a selection of the best clips from the podcast over the last few weeks. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.